Well, I'm tired of lanes, tired of the game, tired of motherfuckers that's tired of change. But a chain gon' come, oh yes it will. Keep it independent, don't need a deal. It's Sonny with the O in the middle, cashing big checks with the O in the middle. Good on top, too many hoes in the middle, hoes in the middle of your business. Give me a minute, cause I've been looking for a change. If you see him, tell him hi. Cause I've been on this one-way ride, and I only see change from the shit that I buy. But I can't pay for no.
Okay, back from break, and right now we've got a special guest on the phone line, that of Sonny Bama, a guy who recently switched up from a storied behind-the-scenes stint out onto the front stage, bringing a different voice to the southern hip-hop scene. We'll, of course, get into all that, but right now, it's good to have you. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, sir.
Absolutely. To get started, of course, you recently released your first solo effort, in that of the album Change. It's an album that also features the likes of Jelly Roll, Yellow Wolf, and Haystack, who themselves are, of course, well known on the rap circuit. Personally, I like the album, with my favorite two cuts being the title song Change, and also the song Looking for Change, featuring Yellow Wolf and Alex King. But talk to us just a minute about the reasoning behind the album and what message you're trying to convey with it.
Well, I was working independent music for a long time, over a decade. Worked for Selecto, Hits Music Distribution. I worked for Wendy Day. I just kind of worked in the circuit of doing web development. I also do web development by trade, and marketing. So I found myself doing a lot of work for a lot of these artists, and all through Tennessee, through Jelly Roll and Stack, and was mainly, music, hip-hop in the urban market. And I just kind of got bored with it because, of course, I started as an artist. This is my first solo project, but I released the first independent rap record to reach retail in Southern Alabama's history. And that was more of a compilation of artists, that I went out and found and produced and put together. So, I just wanted to get back in touch with my roots, and I really felt like the game was missing something that I had to offer. And, of course, I got a message that's, real relevant, and it's blue-collar music. It's music for every average Joe across America that's struggling and striving and just trying to keep their head above dirt,
Yeah, well, one thing I liked about your sound in the album is that it's pretty eclectic. It's got a whole lot of different genres of music compressed together and mashed up, and it comes off really well. But before we get further into that, winding the clocks back a little bit, I previously read that, according to your bio, you first got your foot in the industry door by being a radio DJ, I believe, which I thought was pretty cool since I'm, of course, in the radio industry. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, of course. That's a good question. Actually, I started at urban station in Mobile, Alabama, WYOK. That station was independent at the time. And I worked there as a board op and then worked my way up to, a regular full-time DJ. And my radio career was short-lived because, I really wanted to be an artist, but I picked up a lot from that. And actually, I got the name Sonny from working in radio because I was actually at a staff meeting one day, and I didn't even know this. I knew my father had previously worked in radio in his younger days, and there was some memorabilia on the wall, and there was a picture of my father on the wall, and I just picked it out at a random staff meeting one day, and his name was Sonny on the air, and so the owner of the station ended up handing that name down to me, and it's stuck ever since. But I found myself in production and radio and doing, just starting out erasing tapes, and everything was reel-to-reel and, cart tapes and things like that. So I really took an interest in the production side of things, and then, found myself in Atlanta and working out of studios and really trying to learn the basics and in and outs of studio and audio recording.
I see. Well, from there, I believe you moved on to promotions and marketing, as you mentioned earlier. Who were some of the people that you worked for and assisted with that sort of thing?
Oh, man, we were in Atlanta. I had a guy I worked with, Tony Delano. He was a graphic designer, and I was mainly doing web stuff. So we worked with anybody from Pastor Troy to Young Jock, Gorilla Zoe, Keisha Cole, and then it's Selecto, you know, from 3-6 Mafia to Lil White to Stack, you know, it's the list goes on and on. A lot of independent music, you know, or people that weren't always independent but found themselves in an independent situation again later on in their career.
Mm-hmm. I see. So you also did some engineering work, I believe, as well, along with 3-6 and some other people like that. But and you also mentioned earlier that you sort of got bored with it and decided to do your own music. Were you still happy with what you were doing, even though it was getting a little rusty, I suppose, or what happened there?
Well, I mean, I can't say that I was really unhappy, but I can't say that I was at my happiest point of my life either. You know, it's kind of like you start out and you find yourself in a neighborhood full of local artists, and you work your way up through your career to where you're sitting behind a desk and you feel like you had your hand in projects of some of the biggest projects, you know, that were in the marketplace at the time, and that things aren't really different. The relationships are kind of the same. It's just different people, you know. So it was something that I took interest in, but you know, music is in my soul, and I just really felt like I needed to get back to that, and I couldn't devote myself full time to it. You know, if I was, and it's kind of a conflict of interest. You know, a lot of these people were calling on me to help them with this project or that project, and you know, so I really just had to step down and say, you know, you guys are going to have to do this on your own, because I'm going to go out here and take a huge risk at being an artist again. You know, and of course the pay is a lot lower right now than it was last year.
Yeah.
But I'm having way more fun, so, you know, I don't really do it for the money. I mean, the money's a byproduct. You know, we need it to survive, but at the same time, I've always been a dreamer and a risk taker, and, you know, I really found myself believing in what I was capable of as an artist again, so I just said, screw it, this is what I'm going to do.
I think that's really the best way you can go about things anyway, is taking those risks. Going back to the topic of your album Change, and furthermore the way you present yourself, one thing I noticed and later read in a description of your style was that you tend to shy away from the guns, glitz, and glamour subject matter and focus on everyday real-life struggles and topics. Now, obviously, there are plenty of people that would find that refreshing, myself included, but do you think the music bigwigs and whatnot would ever see that as commercially viable, or is that something that you even care about?
No, I don't care about it. I'm not anti major label record deal, but at the same time, that's not what my mission is to do. You know, so I really feel like I'm not anti, you know, trap music or bling music or, you know, any of that stuff either. I feel like there's a lane for that, but I feel like that lane is so oversaturated. You know, and music, you know, as far as our parents and generations, you know, the timeless music they listened to, it was because it touched them in some kind of way. It touched their soul. And you can still play some of those old records today, and they're just brand new all over again, and they're still relevant. You know, so that was just kind of my goal, is to go in and tell my story, and it's all authentic. You know, it's everything that I've been through and the stuff I've seen and dealt with, and I felt like it was a positive message overall that people could relate to and that was relevant. And I want to just make timeless records that you know, you can play 10 years from now and say, hey man, that dude was right. You know.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that. I mean, emotion is always going to be around, but material-wise, things are going to change. So, you know, 20, 30 years down the road, people may not be even wearing chains or the baggy pants or whatever they're doing today. So, I mean, that's a very good point. And moving on, in my opinion at least, you're just now starting to really heat up and are beginning to turn a lot of heads. In addition to the album, you've also already performed and opened for the likes of Big Crit recently, I believe. What's your ultimate goal, though, with the music? What are you ultimately striving for?
Well, you know, I mean, of course, I want it, you know, right now, it's coming from independent music and working in a retail standpoint, you know, that's bringing records to retail. I kind of went the opposite route. And, you know, some people may say, well, why did you do that? You know, why did you not go to retail with all of the connections and stuff and coming from a distribution label? But I just felt like I really need to get that critical mass right now. And in order to do that, I have to release these records for free. And, you know, product is free and product is everywhere. It's not exclusive right now, so I'm just really trying to push it across the globe and get the message across. I've got some really good reviews on the music, and I'm also going back into production again. And producing for major artists. I've got some stuff that I can't really discuss right now, but some music that I decided was kind of too big for the new project I'm working on, and it might fit in on somebody else's record. So, but I mean, in the end, I want to get out here. I got a full band that I play with now. I'm also a guitar player, so I play the guitar in the band. That's been kind of a task, because it's not something you see very often. It's somebody that raps and plays the guitar, especially at the same time.
Right.
It's something I've actually kind of had to learn how to do, and I get better and better at all the time. But it's just fun, So I kind of treat this record more of how you would push an indie rock record. It's just one of those records you have to get on the road with the band and go out here and play it in front of the world and see what happens.
And what's been the reaction to that? I mean, as you said, you play the guitar while you rhyme, and I noticed that in the Change video, actually, and I thought that was pretty cool. But how do people out in the actual concerts and appearances like that, how do they react to that overall?
It's very, very well received, and I'm glad you bring that up, because when I put this record out, I really, wanted to I knew it was a little left field. It's a lot of southern soulful production. It's got a hint of classic rock and country and, New Orleans and Mississippi, Memphis blues type of stuff going on in it. And it's pretty much all live instrumentation. So I didn't really want to try to compete in all-out rap genre. I didn't purposely want it to cross over, but I just knew I had something different. And now that I've been out here playing, I've been playing and getting gigs at venues that typically don't support hip-hop acts. That they're rock venues or they're country venues, but because I play the guitar and have this band, and then of course the message behind the music, I think really stimulates it. But it's really well received, and I'm very happy to be, kind of traveling in this live music circuit and being the only rapper there.
Right. Absolutely. Well, before we wrap up, you mentioned earlier that you're working on a new project. Is there anything you can tell us about that right now?
Yeah, well, I've already got about 6 songs into the new project, and, after I put this record out and started collaborating with other musicians, we go out and do these shows. There's rock musicians, there's, country bands. We've been on the lineup with all kinds of different genres of music. And it's really localized to my home market, but at the same time, there's some really talented guys, and my music's been well received with them, so they're coming in and helping me with the production. The first record, I pretty much produced 98% of it myself in a bedroom on a laptop with Pro Tools and a guitar.
Wow.
I wasn't in $1 million studios every day doing this, and, I take pride in the quality of the record. I think sonically it sounds pretty good, but, I've been engineering for 15 years and using Pro Tools, so I have the ability to be resourceful when needed. But, these other musicians coming in to help me out is I got a country guitar player, I got a blues singer, I got a conga player. It's just all these different people. This new record is going to be the same message. I'm never going to change that. It's going to stay the blue-collar average Joe, struggling check-to-check working American music, but it's definitely going to be really crazy as far as production is concerned.
Well, something definitely to look forward to. And also, of course, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And for more on Sonny Bama, to get his album, you can go to sonnybama.com. Also, check out his latest song titled Today, which I actually checked out the other day. It's a really good track. You should definitely peep that. Finally, you can also follow him on Twitter at Sonny Bama. And any final words, man?
Yeah, man, just, I appreciate you having me on, and thank you much. And y'all go to sonnybama.com and download the music for free. There's T-shirts and merch on there if you like, but the music's free. I don't care if you pay for it or on iTunes or whatever, or you get it for free as long as you get it. You can find it on that Piff, that Crack, all the mixtape sites, even though I don't consider it a mixtape. It's an album, but it is a free project, so just make sure you download it from somewhere.